everybody, welcome to MJX Movies. Today I'll be yakking the film Drop from 2024, directed by Christopher Landon, son of Michael in case anybody's wondering. In this movie, we open with Violet, our main character, under attack. She's being attacked by a gentleman who we later discover is her first husband, and the father of her child. Before we see the end result of the attack in progress, we cut away to Violet in the present day, where it turns out she's a therapist of sorts. She's in a meeting, and later on that night she's got a date. She goes home. Her sister arrives to take care of her son for the evening. She heads off to her date, which is at a fancy restaurant high up in a building, in a skyscraper. When she gets there, she initially arrives alone. Her date is running behind schedule. She meets a variety of people before settling in for the date. However, once the date starts, she begins to receive airdrops. However, in this film they call them digi-drops. It's a separate service. Whatever. And it turns out those digi-drops are asking her to murder her date. Otherwise, her son as well as her sister will be murdered because there's a henchman in her house, and her house is also wired with a lot of cameras, very high-def cameras. It's never really explained as to why that is, but they're there. So, she struggles with the murder of her guest. She comes across as an absolutely off-her-rocker person the whole time. Eventually, she discovers that the person doing the drops is somebody in the restaurant, and that somebody is an older gentleman she met near the beginning of the film. As it turns out, her date is a photographer for the mayor of Chicago. And it turns out, as is often the case with mayors of Chicago or Chicago politicians, he's a little bit corrupt. So that's why the guy would like her date murdered. Once she discovers it's him, however, she gets into a fight. There's a shootout in the bar, in the restaurant. And then Violet has to drive home at top speed in order to save her son and sister from being murdered by the henchman. She does so. And then we smash cut to, I think maybe the next day, honestly. She's at the hospital. She's reconnecting with her date, who was shot, but he's okay. And her sister, who's also shot, but she's okay. And then the movie wraps up, and they walk off into the hospital sunset. So this movie stars nobody I'm familiar with the exception of Brendan Sklenar. And had I not watched It Ends With Us earlier on this year, I would not have been familiar even with him. I'm going to start by saying that everybody has types of movies that are just not made for them. Some people are negative Nellies and they don't like a good rom-com. Some people don't like the abstractness of a space movie. I personally have a tough time with elaborate assassination plots when they're not spy-related. So were this to have been a James Bond movie, I could have lived with the insane assassination plot that the bad guy engaged in. But for this movie, every moment I was thinking to myself, wouldn't it have just been easier to hit the guy with a car, or drop something on his head and call it an accident? Because for the amount of effort that went into the assassination plot of the photographer date, he could have just been easily murdered by many other easily cover-upable accidents. The look of this movie, I would say, is pretty good. This movie takes largely place in the restaurant. And I think the acting was really strong. There was one moment that was incredibly touching that I was not expecting. Also, another thing in this movie, so early on in the movie, when our main character Violet is at home, she gets startled by a meter man. And then that meter man, he does what meter men do. He just says he's there to check the meter, and he goes on. Later on in the movie, after the assassin has been chasing around the sister and the son, around Violet's house, he takes off his mask, and the moment was supposed to be a reveal, as if this was an actor we already knew. It turns out we did. He was the meter man, but honestly, I'd forgotten because the meter man was so bland that I would never have guessed had I not had thought really hard that, oh wait, that person who was on screen for half a second earlier on is actually this person as well. And again, the way the scene was shot, it was supposed to be like, oh, this guy's back. But it was really not that. So yeah, I would say overall, also I would say the opening credit sequence I really enjoyed. It was stylistically very fun. And I think I will say that there was a couple interesting sunken place-esque moments in this that I thought was an interesting way of shooting the movie. This movie as well is one that features obviously heavily a cell phone. So there's a lot of on-screen giant cell phone text, which seems to be the way that most people have agreed upon how to do cell phone text in movies. So yeah, for me, between yay and in between, this one's, for me personally, this one's a nay because I cannot stand insane assassination plot movies. However, if that's not something that's a problem for you, this is probably a pretty good Hitchcock knockoff and a pretty good De Palma knockoff insofar as being a tight chamber room drama thriller. However, maybe you're not a fan of cell phones on dates, in which case this one might also be a nay for you. Or maybe you have a kid at home and you've been on a date where you need to check your cell phone all the time, in which case this one might be a yay for you. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like and subscribe. Cheers.